Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Apreen Athar, founder of Happy Being Pakistan. Today I am going to share SDG 5, that is gender equality, and I have also merged it with the concept of gender equity because as human rights activists we somehow negate the notion of equity. So in this video I am going to share what is gender equality and how gender equity can lead to gender equality. So let's get started now. So we have a SDG 5, that is gender equality, but before gender equality comes gender equity. So I'm going to share the concept behind it in my upcoming slides. So we all are equal. First of all, we are human beings before considering ourselves as specific gender or sex, be it male, female, or transgender. I had made a picture which is depicting two sides of the story. That is, you have to choose whether you want to be a happy person or whether you want to be a sad person. It's your choice, and your choice and your parents or family choice plays a pivotal role in deciding your future or make your life happy or sad. So why I chose this topic? Because it's very important nowadays, specifically during current pandemic, in which the statistics of domestic violence and child sexual abuse is rising. So that's why uh, found it I find it really important to discuss the SDG 5, that is gender equality. According to SDG 5, there are certain aspects which needs to be discussed. First of all, what is gender equality? It includes and surrounds the following notions. First of all, it's important to end discrimination among against all forms of violence among females, women and girls, to eliminate violence against all women and girls, eliminate all harmful practices such as child marriage, recognize and value unpaid care and domestic violence, ensure women participation and leadership in decision making, which is very common nowadays in workplace where the decision making is not considered very important, especially among the male co-workers. And while decision making at home, there's the same case. And last one is ensuring universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights. These are all the points that are related to women and girl child. I'm focusing on specifically women rights because women are more vulnerable due to patriarchal society and transgenders, I must say. Physical or sexual violence is a public health problem that affects more than 1/3 of all women globally. I am also a member of various forums which are advocating that out of 3 billion women, 1 billion women are victimized and are victims of any form of abuse or violence, be it sexual, physical, psychological, or the combination of all of them. So we must advocate and create an awareness to stop all forms of violence against women, because women are the future of all of the kids, and they are basic uh, factor in teaching their child the life skills and social skills. If the woman or mother is not happy or is not emotionally healthy, then she will not be able to bear the child in the first place. But if her child survives, then she would not be able to instill the life skills and social skills like trust building, confidence enhancement, self-esteem among her children. I have the statistics of three countries, India, Pakistan, and Nepal, and that is the comparative analysis of different forms of violence, which I'm sharing with you. First one is sexual abuse or violence. In Pakistan, it's 15%. Most of the cases of sexual violence, according to that statistics, is Pakistan, which is the highest form of violence that is being shown in the statistics. And second one is physical violence, in which India is at highest level, followed by Pakistan and Nepal. And then there is an emotional abuse or emotional violence. Pakistan is in the middle. I'm focusing on different forms of violence and showing the statistics. Character assassination is 49% in Pakistan. Verbal abuse is 23%. Verbal abuse is highest in India also. Threat is 30%, 45% India and 6% Nepal. 12% kidnapping cases in India, 5% in Pakistan and 8% Nepal. And other forms of violence are prevailing in Pakistan. Other form of violence can be other than such these forms of violence, or the combination of all of them. Please note that these are the statistics that are dependent upon the number of reported cases, but the unreported cases are huge, unfortunately. So it can be a very dramatic or a very sad statistic if we come to know the exact statistics of these forms of violence. So it's important to distinguish between sex and gender. While my training experience with different social organizers, community mobilizers, human rights activists, even they don't know, or the teachers especially, they don't have an idea about the difference between what is sex and what is gender. So I'm gonna develop an awareness or the segregation between sex and gender. Sex is biological in nature. It involves chromosomes, reproductive organs, and genitalia and hormones. On the other hand, gender is sociological based, male and female. Gender is culturally defined or socially defined, and it is based on specific roles which are specifically related to particular sex. For example, in terms of gender, we can say that females are specifically designed or born with the qualities of being a caring person. Service jobs attributes would involve fragile and emotional, and inferior healthcare to men, and financial dependency. And on the other hand, gender is in terms of male is defined having the roles and responsibility related to construction and defense, risk takers, aggressive, higher workforce participation, financial autonomy. These are the culturally or socially defined definition, which are very different from sex. The only difference between men and women is the capacity of reproducing a child. Women can bear a child, on the other hand, men cannot. So you have seen in the picture that it is shown in the picture also, that the only difference between men and women is the ability of bearing a child as compared to men. On the other hand, if we can say that what are the tasks which can be done by males, or what are the tasks that can be done by females also. If we think about that, we all of us can do all types of chores or work. So it is important to create an awareness and understanding about sex and gender, and these societal definitions, if understood by everyone, so it can lead to the regression or improve regression in the domestic violence cases or patriarchal thinking or society at large. So I'm going to share the slide that is giving different examples of gender roles. For example, you have seen in the pictures that men are related to boxing, rugby, or ties. Females are related to sandals, being a queen, dresses, and there's a group of things that are common among both men and women, that is the ability to wear the jeans, etc. But there is no difference. The only difference is the ability of bearing a child, and men and women can do each and everything, because we are human beings and we have the capacity or potential to do everything. According to statistics, 1 in 5 women and girls aged 15 to 49 reported experiencing physical or sexual violence by an intimate partner within a 12-month period, and 47% women and 6% men are homicide victims killed by intimate partners or family members. 49% countries have no laws specifically protecting women from domestic violence, and 37% exempt rape penetrations from prosecution if they are married to or subsequently marry the victim. So the common notion is that intimate partner violence can lead to domestic violence or an increase in the statistics or probability of domestic violence among females. So physical or sexual violence is a public health problem, affects more than 1/3 of all women globally. I was going through different pictures while making this video, and I have seen a very interesting picture in it. There is a misconception about the concept of feminism. Everyone believes that feminist is a person who is advocating only for the women's rights, but it's not the case. Feminism means gender equity. So I thought that I must share it in order to create an understanding about the concept of feminism. So next, I'm coming towards the concept of gender equity. It's a process of being fair to women and men. To ensure fairness, strategies and measures must often be available to compensate for women's historical and social disadvantages that prevent women and men from otherwise operating on a level playing field. Equity can leads to equality. That's why from the start of my video, I'm saying that equity is very important to create the concept of equality, or to create equality worldwide or on a large scale. So gender equality comes from gender equity. Equality is the end goal, equity is the mean to get there. So I'm going to share the concept of equality and equity and the differences between them. Equality is sameness in treatment. Equity is the equality in outcomes. On the other hand, level or same distribution of support, opportunities and treatment is called equality. But equity is the treatment according to the differences, or according to the needs of need of the person. Equality does not consider differences of each member, and equity is focused on attributes, needs, advantages and disadvantages when it comes to treatment, and both have similar origins revolving around fairness and evenness and societal system terms. Both are important to create a good and stabilized society, regardless of any form of domestic violence or abuse or any form of violence, I must say. So here's the picture that is clearly defining the differences between equality and equity. So as you are observing that in case of equality, most of the needs are not fulfilled, but in equity there is a fairness, and in order for everyone to get the chance, or to get their goal being achieved. Here's another picture that is creating a very clear picture about the differences between equity and equality. So I'm going to focus again on women issues, because women are more vulnerable than men in patriarchal society. Women are 2 times more at risk for suicidal attempts, anorexia and bulimia. In case of anorexia and bulimia nervosa, women are 3 times more vulnerable. 1 out of 12 women will develop alcohol dependence during their lives. 2 times as more likely as men to develop depression, 2 times as likely as men to suffer anxiety disorders, and 2 times more likely than men to experience PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. So these are the outcomes of any form of violence and abuse. That's why through different forums, women are advocating, or human rights activists are advocating to create an awareness on gender equality and gender equity, because women are more vulnerable as compared to men. But I'm not saying that men don't have any right to get their rights being done. Both men and women have their own rights, and have the right to live and be respected. So how to fight Pakistan's deadly domestic violence norm? Because in Pakistan there are numerous cases which are being generated specifically during the pandemic. So first of all, I'm going to share different strategies or ways through which we can help people to understand the difference between sex and gender. What are the rights of a woman or a girl being a human being? So these are in my upcoming slides. I'm going to share the strategies to fight against this deadly domestic violence norm. First of all, it's important to make everyone and every woman and girl to create an understanding about the importance of resistance. First of all, most of the females or girls don't resist, and they become the victim of domestic violence or abuse, or any form of physical, verbal, emotional violence, because in Pakistan, we are being given lessons to stay quiet, don't speak up. So, first of all, it's important to teach them to say no or to resist when there is anything that is against their respect or dignity. So, violence against women is not inevitable. There are many ways to prevent it from happening. Everyone has a role to play, and prevention must start early. As a human rights activist, or as a mother, as a daughter, as a teacher, as a father, you have the responsibility to teach the girls and women around you to resist and to say no, and to seek help and support whenever they need it. So we should break the silence. Whenever you witness any form of violence against women or girls, don't sit back, and you must act in order to help them. So in the end, we should rise up to support each other. So rising up sisters share hope, vision and solidarity.